Hello, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving week to all my U.S. colleagues, and hopefully everybody around the world is having a great day, having a great week. I wanted to get a conversation starter recording done based on this fine little graphic that I finished. This is really important to what's going on in my world and hopefully what's going on in yours. But the premise is a visual, a way to organize the process of deciding what to do with your early stage allocation of resources, namely around whether to hire, whether to onboard a new software, whether to contract an agency or find a freelancer in order to get the stuff that you need to get done. And I'm talking specifically to the pre-product market fit startups out there, those who have a bank account with enough money that they believe will get them to product market fit, hopefully more. But we're not talking to those who have raised a significant amount of money. So just those founders that are maybe bootstrapped or maybe have some seed capital, friends and family money, and they need to make some important decisions on how to allocate that money in order to go all the way to product market fit and then raise a real round. So what we have here is a visual showing sticky notes that are categorized by everything from HR benefits to finance, and then a board that could be a whiteboard in your office that shows the columns for hire or leveraged internal staff, agencies and firms, contractors, and software. So columns for those four. I will preface my personal decisions around what to do with each of these sticky notes and each of these tasks with a couple things. First, founders, especially early on, should take the vast majority of the customer support tasks and the sales tasks on themselves. I think this is a necessity and this typically happens, but sometimes you get in that boat where the founder just hates customer support and they want to task it off. But I urge the founders out there not to do that, to keep customer support on your desk as long as possible, because it helps you make the important decisions. And it doesn't have to be full time. You can split it with others, but at least take some of those phone calls and take some of those emails and those chats. Second thing I'll preface with, and this is my opinion, but development resources should be focused exclusively on the product in the early stages and not on ancillary tasks like landing pages and API connections. You want to make sure your product team is focused on the product with all the development resources they have. And then third, regarding software and the sales stack, the technology is moving so quick these days, and your technology is progressing so quick. So I urge everyone out there not to make any very, very large commitments to software, long-term commitments, large and long-term, to software based on a future expected need today. That's a caveat. And then lastly, actually, is that although we as founders, we like to think that we know what our customers want and what we can provide them, 9 times out of 10, we've lost touch of that because we've been so rolled up in fundraising and getting financial models created and dealing with personnel that we kind of lose track of what's going on in the marketplace and what's going on out there. So that's another aspect to this is, you want to gain those third-party eyeballs as often as possible, that fresh take. So have your advisors, obviously, and have new agencies and new contractors coming in and out that can give you those fresh eyeballs. It's super valuable. So I want to try to make this under 10 minutes, try to be quick here, but you can see some of the different stickies under each category under HR, like benefits packages, data. We have stuff like data enrichment and data cleansing and blending, stuff like UI, UX. We have ongoing ad design. Under development, we have custom web scrapers. You have MVP builds, of course. Under writing, you have copywriting for the website and emails. You have social posts, you have ebooks and email, some long form writing like white papers. Under marketing, you have PPC management, typical. You have 3 months of PR, so a little PR sprint. Under sales, you have cold calling, web chat management, very important. And that's sales/CS, customer success, and then channel partnership stuff. And then under finance, heavily debatable one, where to get your CFO. And this is something I think will cause a lot of debate too, like stuff like financial models. A lot of founders out there aren't familiar with building financial models, so definitely want to look outwards for those? And do you hire someone that's really good with finance that could potentially groom to be a CFO? Or do you hire a CFO that's perfect for where you're at in the business now? Or do you contract an agency? My opinion is hire an agency at this stage. Again, we're talking about pre-product market fit. So you can see kind of where I allocated some of these. Some of these fit over 2 different sectors. And the reason for that is it depends who your founding team is. So if your founding team is really good at sales, you can use your inside team, your current team, to do a lot of the sales. If they're really good developers, if you're a really good developer, then, maybe you take on a lot of those development tasks and those stay in-house. But then those kind of bridge the gap. And that's what those gray stickies are for. These are ones that you probably have either a tech focused founding team or a sales focused founding team. Rarely both, hopefully both. But yeah, some very heavily debatable ones on here. Like again, the CFO one, I think that's very debatable. On the PPC side, agencies versus contractors. Agencies you're going to pay a little bit of a margin for, but there's benefits there, meaning you can leverage an agency for some of their other best practices, some of the other people that they're working with. So you find an agency that's good in your vertical and you can use them. And I recommend cycling through agencies, layering them on top of each other, using the best practices from one agency as well as another, and making sure you're continually progressing and getting the newest best out there with regards to your marketing. So agencies are great for those PPC management roles. Contractor side, I do recommend leveraging contractors for any UI, UX changes, any landing page builds. Like I said, I think you should keep your development resources focused on the product. So that's super important. And then API connections, last thing I'll mention. These API connection tasks, these are what would be stuff that you have to build out natively. There's API connections that are just one way, and you can use Zapier for that, obviously. PySync is a great 2-way API connector. But then there's new players on the block like Blender, blendr.io, and Integry, INTEGRY.io. And those guys will white label their solutions, their API connections, their API integrators, if you call them, and they allow you to build out flows, and they allow you to use what they've built inside your software in order to let your customers connect their tools without knowing that they're providing the connection. So if you look at Calendly, go to their integrations, the bottom half of those integrations are powered by Integry. So very interesting new developments. And that goes back to my point, making sure that you are leveraging the software today and not getting into these long-term contracts, and making sure you're staying agile, because that's a relatively new development. You can save a ton of development bandwidth by going to an Integry or a Blender and white labeling their API connections to build out your API connections inside your app. So that's great. Let me know what you think. I hope you liked it. There's going to be a blog post. There'll be an article in the comments, and please start the discussion. I'd love to hear your feedback. Tell me where you think I'm wrong. Here's another view. Alrighty. Thanks.